The third letter from Rockefeller to his son, The Essence of Money. As you're about to embark on your journey into society, I'd like to share with you some thoughts on money. It takes time to develop a proper understanding of money, and in my youth, I had great aspirations for it, perhaps even some madness. I knew that money could buy moral dignity and social status, which excited me far more than beautiful houses, delicious food, or expensive clothing. In my youth, I was fascinated by a book called The Diary of Amos Lawrence, which led me to see myself as a contradiction. Lawrence was a wealthy textile mill owner in New England who donated £100,000 through careful planning. Every time I read his letters, I would be deeply contemplative. The money he gave was crisp new bills, visible and audible. I resolved that if I could ever do the same, I would also give others crisp new bills that would make a clack sound. Perhaps such thoughts seemed rare or even ridiculous for a teenager, but I knew they were the wondrous effects money had on my mind. However, in hindsight, those thoughts were so naive. If you only know how to save money, your life is like a locked safe where nothing goes in and nothing comes out. Once, I saw many roses sold out, and I thought surely the flower shops in Cleveland were making a fortune. So, some stingy thoughts came to mind because there were always some girls receiving far more flowers than they needed. So why not gather up those flowers again and sell them to the eager young men who couldn't find any flowers before nightfall? However, as soon as this idea popped into my head, I laughed at myself harshly. I realized it was a lesson on the difference between greed and working smart. If I became wealthy by using such silly tricks, it would be a huge joke. Money is merely the surface of things, not the core. Money can buy food but not appetite, medicine but not health, acquaintances but not friends, pleasure but not happiness and peace. But money rules our lives. You can deny it, protest against it, claim to treat it like dirt, but ultimately, money is still at the core of our survival. Yet money is indeed not the most important thing. It has nothing to do with the moral values that give meaning to our lives. We often find ourselves in a dilemma. How should we treat those things that, while not important, are at the center of our lives? People have different relationships with money. Those I've known have varied attitudes toward money. I've shared cheap wine with homeless people who would crumple their meager bills and hide them deep in their pockets. I've also had late-night conversations with stockbrokers who hold vast wealth but never touch coins. There are wealthy individuals who refuse to part with a penny, fearing poverty's approach. Meanwhile, I've also encountered generous wealthy people, criminal poor people, prostitutes, and saints. What they all have in common is that their approach to money stems from their understanding of it, not the quantity they possess. Money, on the surface, is a cold and ruthless reality. Either you have it or you don't. But at its emotional core, it is elusive and can be shaped into whatever form you desire. Even if you're not interested in money and only hope not to worry about it, it can still be defined as some abstract concept. Money thrives, requires investment planning, taxation based on income, and making it meaningful wealth. It takes root, withstands economic storms, and needs to be nurtured like a gardener. In the end, it becomes the core of your thoughts, even if you're only saving for the future and no longer burdened by money. In dealing with the issue of money, how should one navigate? Between poverty and retaliation, how does one find the right attitude? While there are no hard and fast rules, there are some basic principles to keep in mind. The ancient Greek philosopher Democritus once said, "Those who allow themselves to be entirely controlled by wealth can never be just." Therefore, generosity is crucial. If you are generous to others, they will reciprocate, allowing money to flow freely, not squandered, but sought after to share with others. Sharing, in this sense, is not just about spending money recklessly, but using it to help others, to do meaningful things without expecting anything in return. By doing so, you become one of those who are willing to help, opening yourself up to opportunities for mutual assistance and interaction with others. People will repay your kindness in kind. On the contrary, if your pursuit of money is solely for security and hoarding, you'll find others around you doing the same, leading to suspicion and mistrust. However, if your goal is to share with others, you'll find the world full of vitality. Importantly, greed does not bring happiness because greedy people cannot bear losses. The liquidity of money makes it the basis of exchange. Miserly individuals struggle with the departure of money, while generous people, even if poor, feel abundant. They see the benefits of money flowing out, and generosity often ignites the flame of sharing, making the loss of money a mutual gift. They understand that sometimes, to gain, one must also lose. Those who refuse to accept losses often find themselves stuck in stagnation. Sometimes, giving all is more important than holding on to the last penny. I don't mind. I want to tell you that money is just a fleeting entity. We come into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing. If you insist that money only increases and never decreases, you're like someone trying to defy the laws of nature, akin to breathing with a dwarf. Although money may flow back to you or to others, life goes on regardless, with more important things to focus on and pay attention to. If you persist in believing that money is the most important thing, there's one last principle. Money has a characteristic that I call species recognition. It can recognize itself. So those who earn coins will lose coins, those who earn bills will lose bills, and those who earn large sums will lose large sums. If you truly want to make money, you must immerse yourself among your peers, understand their rules and techniques, and apply your talents to how you collaborate with them to achieve wealth. While there are many stories about how millionaires started from scratch, these individuals all lived in fear of accumulating even the smallest amount. Such a life is meaningless. If you aspire to be a millionaire, it's best to learn to join their world, understand their rules and techniques, and then apply your intelligence to how you interact with them to collectively attain wealth. Regardless of which method you choose to handle money, remember this truth. The amount of money is not important. What matters is how you use it. Money is just a commodity, an abstract exchange recognized by both parties. And it's the spirit of this exchange that gives money vitality and meaning. Generous speakers, regardless of wealth, will bring light to the world with money. Those miserly hoarders, regardless of wealth, will close the door to our communication with money. Be a giver and a sharer, and all other problems will be resolved in unexpected ways.